GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action. Live from the GMNA News Center, this is the Lunch Break News Hour.
Good afternoon, I'm Jordan Parker. Tonight we'll break down the police probe into the East York gunfire, look at the new tree removal rules taking effect on September 1st, and give you the latest on heavy rain warnings and CNE traffic snarls. Nathan, what do you make of that?
BTS will perform 2 consecutive nights at BMO Field this weekend, marking their first Toronto Stadium shows since 2022 for fans.
Tickets sold out within 12 hours, prompting the venue to release an additional 5,000 seats for each night to accommodate demand.
The concerts will feature a special collaboration with local Toronto artist Drake, performing a joint rendition of their hit Passion Fruit during the encore.
That's the excitement on our city's music scene, and now we're ready to dive into today's news. Lots to get to, let's begin. Here are our top stories.
Toronto police are investigating gunfire reported at 35 and 49 Thorncliffe Park Drive in East York at 5 a.m., with at least 5 shots heard. Ainsley Booth has the full story.
Shots rang out just before dawn, echoing off 2 apartment blocks on Thorncliffe Park Drive. Police officers arrived at roughly 5 a.m. after hearing gunfire near 35 and 49 Thorncliffe Park Drive. Witnesses reported hearing at least 5 rounds discharge, though no injuries have been confirmed. Officers secured the scene, set up a perimeter, and began a criminal investigation, canvassing the neighborhood for evidence and statements. The investigation remains ongoing as detectives work to identify the source of the discharge and determine any possible motive. Residents were advised to remain indoors while the area was cleared. Additional units blocked off adjacent streets, and a crisis response team remained on standby throughout the morning. Ainsley Booth, GMNA News, Thorncliffe Park.
Toronto will tighten its protected tree bylaw, imposing stricter limits on removal of designated trees starting on September 1, 2026. Property owners must comply with new permitting requirements. Tobias Kwan has the full story.
Starting September 1, 2026, the City of Toronto will enforce tighter rules on the removal of trees protected under its municipal bylaw. Property owners must now adhere to newly imposed limits on how many of those trees can be taken down on a single parcel, and any removal will require a city-issued permit. Officials say the amendment is designed to curb the loss of mature canopy in neighborhoods and to ensure replacement planting where possible. The revised bylaw will stay in effect through at least 2027, with inspectors slated to monitor compliance and issue penalties for unauthorized cuts. The city has posted the updated requirements on its website. Tobias Kwan, GMNA News, Toronto. Ontario manufacturers are bracing for potential tariffs after U.S. and Canadian negotiators failed to reach a final trade agreement Friday night, leaving firms uncertain about future costs. Ainsley Booth has the full story.
Ontario businesses are scrambling to adjust supply chains as the United States and Canada failed to seal a trade pact on Friday night. The collapse was confirmed on August 21st, ending the final round of negotiations. Officials say the breakdown could trigger new duties on a range of goods, prompting firms in the province to stockpile inventory and explore alternative markets. The uncertainty has led automotive parts suppliers in Greater Toronto to file contingency plans, while food processors in Windsor are reviewing cost structures in case tariffs hit raw ingredients. Trade negotiators on both sides confirmed talks stalled, leaving businesses to brace for price spikes and lead times. Across the province, companies from technology to textiles are monitoring the developments closely, awaiting guidance from Ottawa. Ainsley Booth, GMNA News, Toronto.
Unifor and General Motors have reached a tentative collective bargaining agreement for Ontario auto workers, aiming to raise wages and improve benefits for thousands of employees, pending ratification. Ainsley Booth has the full story.
Unifor and General Motors have reached a tentative collective bargaining agreement covering the thousands of auto workers at GM's Ontario facilities. The proposal promises wage increases and expanded benefit packages, pending ratification by the union membership. Negotiators say the deal aims to bring salaries in line with recent cost of living pressures while adding health and retirement perks. If approved, the agreement would set a new baseline for pay and conditions across GM's plants in the province, where the union has long represented the workforce. Both sides expressed optimism that the terms will be accepted at the upcoming vote, potentially averting another round of industrial action. The tentative pact is expected to be reviewed by both parties over the next few weeks. Ainsley Booth, GMNA News, Toronto.
Ontario Premier Doug Ford has publicly backed Prime Minister Mark Carney's decision to reject a U.S. auto steel trade proposal, warning it would harm the province's automotive and steel sectors. Simon Okonkwo has the full story.
Premier Doug Ford stepped out today to applaud Finance Minister Mark Carney's choice to walk away from the United States-Canada auto and steel trade proposal. Ford told reporters the deal would have undercut Ontario's automotive manufacturers and steel mills, warning that it would have driven jobs overseas and raised production costs. He added that protecting local supply chains is essential for the province's economic health. Carney, speaking from Ottawa, said the government could not sign an agreement that threatened the competitiveness of Ontario's factories. The federal team had been negotiating the arrangement for months, but the rejection now leaves the two-nation talks on hold while officials reassess how to support the sector. Simon Okonkwo, GMNA News, Toronto.
Later we'll hear the story behind the zoo's newest resident, a tiny pygmy hippo named Maple, plus more headlines. We will be right back. Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news.
Welcome back. An Ontario Superior Court judge granted bail to a woman charged with human trafficking, bypassing the provincial rule that mandates a cash deposit within 48 hours. The decision highlights bail reform enforcement. Simon Okonkwo has the full story.
Outside the downtown courthouse, an Ontario Superior Court judge granted bail to a woman charged with human trafficking, but did not require the cash deposit that the province's new bail rules demand. Under the reforms introduced earlier this year, anyone arrested on serious offenses must pay a cash deposit in full within 48 hours of arrest. The judge's decision on August 21, 2026, left that condition untouched, allowing the suspect to walk free without the financial guarantee. Provincial officials have said the rule is meant to ensure accountability while protecting public safety, yet this ruling shows the discretion judges retain in applying the new framework. The case adds another layer to the ongoing debate over bail reform in the province. Simon Okonkwo, GMNA News, Toronto.
Environment Canada issued a special weather statement warning heavy rain and thunderstorms across the Greater Toronto Area, including Peel and Durham, for Saturday and Sunday, August 22nd and 23rd. Ainsley Booth has the full story.
Environment Canada has issued a special weather statement warning of heavy rain and thunderstorms across the Greater Toronto Area this weekend. Forecasts call for intense showers and frequent lightning from Saturday through Sunday, affecting Toronto proper as well as the surrounding Peel and Durham regions. Residents should expect rainfall totals that could exceed several inches, with gusty winds accompanying the storms. The agency notes the risk of localized flooding and advises people to stay alert for rapid changes in conditions. School districts and transit operators are monitoring the situation as the system moves eastward, and emergency services are on standby for any incidents. Drivers are urged to allow extra time on the road as slick surfaces may develop. Local businesses are preparing for possible disruptions. Ainsley Booth, GMNA News, Toronto.
The Toronto Zoo has officially named its newborn pygmy hippopotamus Maple, the first name given to a new hippo at the facility. Simone Okonkwo has the full story.
Inside the Toronto Zoo's African Savanna exhibit, staff gathered this morning as the newborn pygmy hippopotamus received its official name. The tiny calf, born just weeks ago, will now be known as Maple, a name reflecting its Canadian home. Zoo officials shared the name during a brief announcement, noting the animal's arrival as part of the zoo's breeding efforts. Keepers will continue to monitor the youngster's health, providing a diet of milk replacer and fresh water while it acclimates to its new environment. Visitors can expect to see Maple lounging near the water's edge in the coming weeks as the zoo introduces the new resident to the public. Simone Okonkwo, GMNA News, Etobicoke.
Toronto councillor Diane Sachs has withdrawn from her planned contest against former councillor Mike Layton in University Rosedale, opting instead to run for the city's vacant ward. Tobias Kwan has the full story.
On August 21st, Diane Sachs stepped onto a downtown podium and announced she is entering the race for a vacant city council seat, pulling out of the slated contest against Mike Layton in the University Rosedale ward. Sachs, who has represented University Rosedale since 2022, said the open seat offers a better opportunity to serve the city. Mike Layton, a former councillor for the same ward from 2010 until his recent departure, will now focus on his own campaign elsewhere. Witnesses noted a flurry of cameras as the announcement echoed through the hall. The sudden shift leaves both campaigns scrambling to adjust their strategies as the council prepares for a by-election to fill the vacancy. Tobias Kwan, GMNA News, Toronto. Port Hope residents voiced shock and opposition to a proposed nuclear power plant, recalling the town's troubled nuclear history and past waste facilities. Mayor and Energy Minister present. Ainsley Booth has the full story.
Residents gathered outside the town hall on Friday morning, voicing shock at the province's latest nuclear power plant proposal for Port Hope. Many pointed to the community's uneasy past, recalling the decades-long waste handling facility that once operated on the town's waterfront. The mayor stood beside them, acknowledging the concerns while noting the government's push for clean energy jobs. Across the room, Ontario's energy minister defended the project, saying the new plant would meet future electricity demand and meet strict safety standards. Tension rose as locals held up signs demanding a full environmental review before any construction begins. The debate underscores the town's lingering wariness of nuclear developments. Ainsley Booth, GMNA News, Port Hope.
Let's get a look at your afternoon forecast with our meteorologist coming up next.
At noon, a stagnant ridge and a slow jet keep Toronto overcast, with a brief rain pulse before a dry evening. On this date, Toronto's all-time heat record stands at 32.3 degrees, set in 2021 during a sweltering heat wave that pushed daily highs into the mid-30s. The cold record of 14.2 degrees fell in 2024 when an unseasonal Arctic dip drove temperatures well below the early summer norm. By contrast, the climatological normals hover around 22 for the high and 14 for the low, making today's mild overcast feel typical. That swing of 28 degrees between extremes underscores how volatile summer can become when the jet stream toggles between north-south bursts. The live radar shows a narrow band of moderate rain marching east-northeast across the lake-influence corridor. It entered the western suburbs just before 11 a.m., reached downtown by noon, and will peak near 4 p.m. as the heaviest echoes sit over the eastern outskirts. By 5 p.m. the reflectivity fades, leaving a clear sky as the jet stream aloft steers the moisture out of the region. At noon the city sits under a thick overcast with a temperature of 19 degrees and a light rain shower that mirrors the lingering radar band. The atmosphere is held together by near-average pressure that is neither rising nor falling, allowing the jet stream 552 kilometers up to glide gently from the south at 55 kilometers per hour. This flow injects modest moisture while keeping the air stable, so clouds linger but thunderstorms never develop. Temperatures will climb slowly to a high of 20 degrees by mid-afternoon, before slipping back toward 14 degrees after sunset at 8-9 p.m. The UV index reads 4. Winds will gust up to 21 kilometers per hour from the west, feeling brisk across open water. No weather alerts are in effect, so the main concern remains the rain that should clear by afternoon. The 5-day canvas starts Monday with a lingering low-pressure ridge that will keep skies overcast and bring a 45% chance of rain as temperatures hover around 18 to 15 degrees. Tuesday breaks the cloud cover as the ridge lifts, delivering clear skies, a warm high of 24 and a comfortable low of 16. Wednesday sees the jet dip slightly south, restoring overcast conditions and a modest 20% rain risk while highs stay near 23. Thursday the flow intensifies, pushing another overcast spell with a 25% chance of rain and the warmest day of the stretch at 26 degrees. Friday the pattern finally clears, offering sunshine again with a high of 25 and a low of 16, ending the week on a dry note. And that's your weather. Remember, the lunch break is also available as a podcast. Listen anytime on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts.
We'll break down traffic around the CNE and Rogers Stadium, preview the BTS concert, and recap the Argonauts' win. We will be right back. Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes, the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news.
Congestion is building at Exhibition Place as Gardiner closes between Expressway and Lake Shore for CNE, backing up traffic onto Lake Shore and Don Valley southbound, and adding at least 15 minutes of delay. Use Lake Shore Road or downtown routes instead. Shepherd West and Wilson Close for Rogers Stadium event, diverting traffic onto Bathurst and Dufferin, which is blocked at British Columbia Road, forcing east-west flow onto Gardiner. Yorkville Avenue is closed between Hazelton and Bellaire, so commuters to Financial District should use Bloor and Yonge. Work on QEW and Highway 427 adds minutes. Line 2 has no service between St. George and Chester, with shuttles on University and King. Line 3 runs shuttles between Kennedy and McCowan, and GO, Lakeshore West and Kitchener lines are delayed for CNE. Clear routes such as Danforth or Don Valley Parkway move smoothly. Afternoon stays heavy around exhibition grounds, with lingering delays on Gardiner and southbound 427.
BTS is back in Toronto, taking over Rogers Stadium for a 2-night stadium concert today. The K-pop megastars are on the Arirang World Tour, and fans can finally hear the new album Live, a must-see for anyone who loves a high-energy show. If sweets are more your thing, Hershey's has teamed up with Pokémon for a limited-time adventure that drops chocolate collectibles across the city. It's a tasty hunt that blends nostalgia with a bite of surprise. Also sweet on the scene, Cake Your Way is opening its second Toronto spot, bringing the viral cookie pies that made Vaughan famous to a new neighborhood. Expect long lines and Instagram-ready treats. Looking ahead, the Toronto International Film Festival rolls into town on September 10, promising premieres and star-studded screenings that will dominate the cultural calendar. Whether you're chasing beets, chocolate, or a fresh pastry, today's lineup has something to spark your weekend. And now here's Marcus with sports.
Rain-soaked gridiron fireworks, MLS drama, and a nail-biter in the Bronx. Quarterback Chad Kelly erupted, delivering 3 touchdown passes and adding a rushing score as the Argonauts surged past the Hamilton Tiger Cats 39-20 in pouring rain. The win solidifies Toronto's hold on the East, and Kelly's versatility forces defenses to respect both arm and legs heading into the stretch run. Josh Sargent and Derek Etienne Jr. struck within 3 minutes of each other in the second half, delivering the decisive blows as Toronto FC clung to a 2-1 victory over Inter Miami. The comeback fuels the Reds' playoff chase and puts pressure on Miami's midfield balance. Toronto's Blue Jays survived a tense ninth, preserving a 4-3 edge after Jazz Kisham Jr. opened the final frame with a leadoff double. The late-inning rally keeps the Jays alive in the wild card scramble and forces the Yankees to regroup before the next series. Stay tuned for more Toronto action as the season heats up.
Thanks, Marcus. GreenShield, now open in downtown Toronto's Commerce Court South, is Canada's only national nonprofit healthcare and insurance organization. Today the doors swung open on a fresh office that brings 700 staff under one roof, uniting the team that once scattered across the city. The move means faster, more coordinated service for Ontarians, from simple claims to complex health programs, and signals a stronger local presence in the heart of the financial district. For Torontonians, it's a reminder that a city built on caring for its people can thrive when the people who protect our health choose to work right here. GreenShield's downtown home is a boost for the neighborhood's economy and community spirit. Stay tuned as we uncover why the premier is quiet on the U.S. alcohol restock request, then a tragic Oakville highway crash. Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news. Toronto's flagship street art festival in Yorkville faces a funding shortfall as city grants dwindle, putting the beloved summer murals at risk. Residents, artists, and business owners are gathering along Yorkville Avenue between Bellaire Street and Hazelton Avenue, voicing their concerns and looking for solutions today. Carl Dumont is there. Carl Dumont.
Thanks, Jordan Parker. I'm standing on Yorkville Avenue, right between Bellaire Street and Hazelton Avenue, where the buzz of the upcoming Yorkville Murals Festival fills the air. Canvas-topped scaffolding lines the curb, bright paint can spill turquoise and magenta onto the concrete, and a crew of volunteers steps back to admire a half-finished mural of a dancing maple leaf. The scent of fresh espresso drifts from a corner cafe where the owner waves a flyer promising free art, live music, and interactive installations this weekend. City officials have just announced that a slice of the usual grant has vanished, leaving organizers scrambling to fill the gap before the August 22 to 23 event. Local shopkeepers cluster near a pop-up information table, urging residents to pitch, and so the free, open-air celebration can still draw tens of thousands of visitors. For the neighborhood, the murals are more than paint, they're a canvas for community pride. Carl Dumont, virtually at Yorkville Avenue.
Welcome back. Ontario Premier Doug Ford has yet to comment on a request to restock American alcoholic beverages in LCBO stores, a shortage that's persisted for over a year. Simone Okonkwo has the full story.
LCBO aisles across the province remain barren of any American wine, whiskey, or craft beer, a void that has stretched beyond 12 months. Shoppers line up at checkout, scanning empty shelves and swapping stories about the missing imports. Earlier today, a coalition of consumer advocates delivered a formal request to the Premier's office, urging a rapid restock of U.S. brands that once filled the retail chain. When pressed for a response, Premier Doug Ford's office offered no comment, leaving the demand hanging in the air. Store managers, meanwhile, cite supply chain hiccups and cross-border regulations as the primary obstacles to bringing the products back. The silence leaves the request unanswered as shoppers continue to wait. Simone Okonkwo, GMNA News, Toronto.
A highway collision in Oakville claimed the life of a 78-year-old woman Thursday evening, with Ontario Provincial Police leading the investigation. Tobias Kwan has the full story.
Police say a collision on the QEW near the Appleby Road interchange claimed the life of a 78-year-old woman Thursday evening. The Ontario Provincial Police arrived within minutes, cordoning off the southbound lanes as they began a preliminary investigation. Witnesses reported a single vehicle loss of control, with the sedan striking the median before rolling into the grassy verge. Emergency responders extracted the driver, but she was pronounced dead at the scene. OPP investigators are reviewing dash cam footage and speaking with motorists to determine the cause. No other vehicles were involved, and traffic resumed after a brief closure. The investigation remains ongoing. Authorities have asked motorists to use alternate routes while the scene is processed. Tobias Kwan, GMNA News, Oakville.
Thanks for joining us, Toronto. From today's breakthrough labor packed with Unifer and GM to the excitement of Maple the new pygmy hippo, it's been a busy day. We appreciate your trust and look forward to bringing you more stories tomorrow on the lunch break.